like he did David Duke? Something tells me no. So you got to read between the lines here. Yeah, you don't want to turn off any votes. I mean, of course you don't want to. But do you want to align yourself with elements that have a very nasty, tragic, dangerous, bloody, disgusting, racist history? No, I know I wouldn't. I mean, to his point, though, Trump has already said on national television that he disavows the KKK. Yeah, there's a difference between saying I disavow them, and there's a difference between coming out and issuing a statement and making it an issue and pressing the point that these folks and myself don't have anything in common. And to this point, I haven't heard Trump say that at all. Terrence writes, Trump will buy the black vote. Sunday morning fish fry at Mount Zion Baptist Super Church. Good point. He's right. He's absolutely right. He's going to trot out Omarosa. He'll get some of the pastors together because that's how they look at us. That's how they look at black people. They figure if they get to the black pastors, because black folks are so religious, you can't say no to your pastor, then that's all he got to do. And he doesn't really have to talk about anything specific, no policies, because black people get shamed away from talking about issues that are pertinent to them. Okay, it's just the most ridiculous thing ever. Everybody in the world can go to candidates and say, hey, this is what me and my particular group want, except for black folks. Jewish folks go to every single candidate and they say, look, are you going to support Israel? And I don't have a problem with it. They should. There's nothing wrong with it. But when black folks say, hey, what are you going to do to address the unemployment rate, specifically the black folks? The first thing they say is, hey, I'm everybody's president. I'm everybody's candidate. I'm the president for America, right? Hispanics can go to Obama and say, look, we want you to pass the DREAM Act, period. Okay? Nobody shames them. Jewish Americans can go to the president and say, look, we want you to support Israel, period. Nobody shames them, okay? But when black people say, hey, we got record numbers of unemployment, you can't talk about black stuff, that's reverse racism, he's America's president. Come on, man, wake up. I ain't with that. Ed writes, did the KKK endorse Ben Carson, or was that a rumor? Well, let me double check here. I haven't seen that anywhere, Ed. I did see Ben Carson, KKK, endorsement. I'm seeing something here. Ku Klux Klan endorses Dr. Ben Carson for president. This is on the National Report, reporting 7 months ago. So there has been some conversation about it online. How credible is it? I can't really say. Ben Carson, who's that? I think I heard him before. Wasn't he in a movie? See, Ben Carson. I don't know. People put these names out here, like Amy Murray from City Council. Is she on City Council? Who exactly is David Mann? What is a David? I don't know. Some of these names, I don't know. I guess. I'll take your word for it. So today is Super Tuesday. Super Tuesday. What does that really mean? I'll be honest with you. I think black people have already lost the vote because it looks like black people are gearing up for Hillary Clinton. And I know that sounds cynical. I know it sounds like it's an endorsement for somebody. It is not. It's just one man's opinion. It's a conversation starter. If South Carolina is any indication of what's going to happen today for Hillary Clinton, it looks like after today, later on tonight, Bernie Sanders will be dropping out. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a little disappointed with Bernie Sanders. Number one, I don't think he's been strong enough during the debates. I mean, hell, think about it. The Democrat field was already weak. There is no diversity whatsoever in the Democrat field. After 8 years of having a biracial man, a minority in the White House, I was supremely disappointed that we didn't have any more diversity than what we saw in terms of the Democrat field. So it was already weak. Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, and some other dude. I can't remember the guy's name. And he was kissing up to Hillary Clinton during the early debates on stage. So what kind of opponent is that? And everybody knows, if you don't know, and again, I'm not trying to hate on Hillary Clinton. I'm just keeping it real. Or HRC, as Michael Eric Dyson called her. HRC, Hillary Rodham Clinton. HRC. Man, she don't get no hip-hop name. The world is coming to an end. She's going to move to the center once we get to the general election, much like her husband did to try to win. And she'll govern from the center just like her husband did. There'll be very little difference. Very little difference. But what do you think? One more thing before we leave. I got a chance to go back and look at the Chris Rock videos. Remember this? Is that real thing, bro? Yeah, Chris Rock. And, it's interesting how he straddled the fence. I mean, it was expertly done from a comedic position. I mean, Kevin Hart couldn't have done that. I'm reading now that Kevin Hart helped to convince Chris Rock to even do it. And that's because, I think Chris Rock had the maturity, he had the experience to pull that off. But going after Will and Jada, because Jada Pinkett Smith dared to release a video calling out Hollywood because of their lack of diversity, I thought that was weak on Chris Rock's part. I really did. And then his comment about how the cries for a boycott or the lack of diversity in Hollywood and the Academy, he kind of played that down like, hey, we had real issues back in the 60s. Well, yeah, there were other issues that were pertinent, but that doesn't mean that this is not an issue. I mean, diversity is an issue around the country. Everyone's talking about it. Why would it be any different with an awards ceremony? Why would it be any different? And so to try to play it down like, oh, there's real issues, kind of like played back into the folks, I guess, that paid him to be the host. I mean, I get it. You got to do what you got to do. I guess he's got mouths to feed and a new girlfriend to support. I'm not here to hate on anybody. I'm just saying I was a little disappointed in Chris Rock as second thought. I mean, it was funny. There were some really funny moments in it. But taking a shot at Jada Pinkett Smith because she dared to bring up the issue of diversity that everybody's been talking about, I think that was a little bit weak. But what do you think? More of your comments, and I'll be back with you tomorrow. Corey writes, Nate, he had the straddle the fence. He has to eat after the Oscars. I get it. You're right. You're right. And I'm not paying for his steak and lobster dinners. I'm not paying for his girlfriend's trips around the world. So I get it. Pedicures. I get it. I understand it. But everybody almost unanimously is saying, Chris Rock, you did a great job, A+. I give you a C. I give you a C+. I give you a C+. I mean, because it was funny. I mean, if it wasn't funny, you would have got an F. But it was almost as if the condition for him being allowed to go after Hollywood in that way and point out the lack of diversity was that he had to throw this sister under the bus. Did you catch that? And why do black people feel like they have to do that if, in fact, agree with it? Brent writes, I hate the idea that the media posts poll numbers because what it does is influence votes because everyone wants a winner. Right. There's a term for it in politics, right? It's like a herd mentality where if people don't know anything about a candidate, if they perceive one candidate as being the winner or that person is going to win, then they're going to vote for that person. And that's what's happening with the Democrats right now in terms of Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. I mean, but honest with you, I think a lot of people aren't even giving Bernie Sanders a real shot. They're doing no real investigation because early on they perceived that Hillary Clinton was going to be the winner no matter what. And so a lot of folks are like, well, I don't want to waste my vote. Mike writes, that's the problem. He's any most star unwilling to sacrifice. He's already rich and famous. What else here? Cherish. How you doing, Cherish? That's because money talks, Nathan. We need our own PAC. That's right. I said it for a while. Black people need their own super PAC. Is there any billionaires out there that might support black political or social issues? Or we'll say the people's political social issue. You could call Oprah. And if she's not talking with the Weight Watchers people, she just bought a little piece of Weight Watchers, I think like 10%. Oprah's about that money. Like if you go to Oprah, you got to have an idea for a show. If you don't have an idea for a show for the OWN network, I'm not sure how much traction you're going to get. More of your comments. Let me see here. That's funny, Terrence. Oh, Trump will buy the black vote. Sunday morning fish fry at Mount Zion Baptist Super Church. Hey, don't forget chicken. So you got to do, show with some chicken and a fish fry. Boom. Some folks, we got, hey, I'll see you on election day, buddy. Thank you. It's the truth. I speak no lies. I keep it real with you. Any questions for me before we roll out? I will answer all questions with the utmost honesty. So be careful what you ask me. Brent writes, Bernie gets my vote. Hey, I can feel that. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. Personally, I would vote for Bernie Sanders from what I know about the man over Hillary Clinton. I just kind of feel like Clinton is a redo. But I can fully acknowledge that if Bernie Sanders wins, it may be closer of an election. Again, this is my perception here, but here I go. What is this based upon? We don't really know. People keep saying, well, Bernie can't win against Donald Trump. Who says who? Says who? You tell me. Any questions for me before we roll? If not, I'll be back with you tomorrow at 7 a.m. And hopefully I will have great news. Shauna writes, when will we be able to call in? ? Very, very soon, Shauna. I appreciate your support. B writes, not enough rich blacks are conscious. They're all about the dollars. We need more Beyoncés. Yeah, props to Beyonce. If you haven't heard the latest on Beyonce, it looks like she got Melissa Harris Perry fired. Well, kinda. From what I'm reading, Melissa Harris Perry, right after the Super Bowl, wanted to develop more time on her show talking about what happened at the Super Bowl. And her producers, in air quotes, I'm telling you, a bad producer can destroy a good show. I've seen it firsthand with my own eyes. And a good producer can elevate an average show. Who the hell are these producers? You know, if the host wants to move forward with this and it's a timely conversation, move forward with it. So from what I'm reading, she wanted to develop an entire hour to that topic, and the producers fought her down to just 15 minutes. There it is. After that, her show was off the air for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then recently she released a statement on social media saying she wasn't coming back. I hope she lands on her feet. Any other questions that you may have for me before we roll out? Carolyn writes, 2 hours, please, Carolyn. I appreciate your support. Thank you very much. Mike writes, Beyonce is not what I would consider conscious. Well, no. I was just saying Melissa Harris Perry. But, I mean, I would say that her performance at the Super Bowl was very conscious. I mean, it was relevant, political, and social. She gave respect to what's going on right now. She took that platform. She took her platform and decided to go a little bit political with it. She talked about Hurricane Katrina. You know, I read a lot of people have been tearing that sister down. And, you know, usually the kind of people that tear people down for no reason are talentless people that wish that they were in that person's spot. So a lot of these people that's tearing down Beyonce wish they were in her position, quite honestly. It's the truth. Don't be afraid of it. And, I mean, how many other black performers have taken a spotlight in a stage like that and went that political with it? She talked about Hurricane Katrina. You know, she's giving respect to the Black Panther Party. She's talking about Black Lives Matter. And then amid the controversy, because everybody was talking about it, Fox News was going after her. Amid the controversy, she didn't back down. She said, look, I did it and I meant it and I'll do it again. And on some levels, I got to respect that. I do. He says, Mike writes, more like Ta-Nehisi Coates. Rhonda writes, what makes Beyonce not conscious? She doing more than a lot of those millionaires and entertainers. That's right. I mean, Beyonce didn't have to open herself up for that kind of scrutiny. She didn't have to do that. And, you know, you got people like Kevin Hart that won't even talk about politics. Kevin Hart won't even talk. If you're interviewing Kevin Hart and you ask him about something political, the man will tell you to your face, I don't talk about politics. He told me to my face, I don't talk about politics. You can YouTube it right now. He's got many interviews and, being caught like moving, out in the streets and people ask him a question about politics. He'll say, I don't talk politics. He's doing that because he's trying to preserve his career. He doesn't want to turn off anybody. I get it. But that ain't conscious.